An accused murderer, David, just appeared in court. According to the prosecutor, a cell phone belonging to David contained, quote, a significant amount of child pornography on it. A status hearing was set for April 29. The court date follows new details on how investigators believe Celeste Rivas was killed. Her dismembered body was found in the trunk of his car. According to the newly released medical examiner's report, she died of sharp force trauma.
Let's go ahead and join former federal prosecutor Neama Rahmani. Neama, thank you so much. Can we start with what we just learned, the evidence that's been presented now by prosecutors?
Good morning, Jamie. And that is a big development. Obviously, we don't know if it's Celeste Rivas's images and videos or something else, but that is a significant offense. Obviously, it helps prosecutors prove the sex crimes, the lewd and lascivious, Penal Code Section 288, but it's also a separate crime in and of itself. And it's certainly the possibility that the feds even step into this case because they typically will prosecute these types of child pornography cases.
And Neama, from the beginning, we know that his attorneys, David's attorneys, the defense, wanted to speed things along and demanding a preliminary hearing begin next week. What do you make of why the defense appears to want to rush things?
Rachel, that's highly unusual. I got to tell you that in almost every case, the defendant and his or her attorney, they waive time because, of course, the defendant has a right to a speedy trial. So the way it works here in California, if you're in custody, you have a right to a preliminary hearing or a prelim within 10 court days or approximately 2 weeks. And if you're out of custody, that number is 60 days. Almost always, the defense wants time to review the discovery, and here we know there's terabytes of data so they can prepare their defense. But here, Blair Burke wants an immediate prelim, which is not typical. I think the defense thinks that the prosecution is not ready, and that's why they're taking this unusual procedural move.
It's just so interesting now that we're hearing some of the evidence. I wonder if they'll maybe change how they feel about things. If they do change how they feel about things, can they go back on it, or are we now kind of down the road?
No, they haven't waived that right entirely. So obviously, if the defense goes before the judge and says, you know what, we need more time to prepare our case, the judge in almost every instance will grant that request, because if they don't, it's a potential issue on appeal. Obviously, as the evidence comes out, if the defense starts to realize, well, there's a lot of digital evidence, there's video, there's cooperators. Obviously, we got the medical examiner report yesterday. If all that looks very bad, they may think their strategy, and I don't know what the strategy is going to be, that someone else did this or that Celeste died of some sort of accident, maybe a drug overdose, but they're going to have to put on some defense in this case. They're not just going to be able to attack the prosecution because, again, the evidence that the district attorney has revealed so far seems pretty damning for Singer David.
Well, as you just said, Neama, the cause of death released yesterday along with the autopsy results, which were, of course, very disturbing.
Yes.
And then today we have the information about the alleged child pornography on his phone. What is the strategy here? I feel like the information is coming out bit by bit. What is the prosecution's strategy?
I think the prosecution's strategy is certainly going to be shock and awe. Obviously, I'm not going to repeat some of those gory details of really tragic death for this young girl. But I think the prosecution is obviously going to start with the motive. And I think the motive here, based on Nathan Hochman's press conference, is that this was a sexual relationship. Obviously, 14-year-olds cannot consent to any type of sexual activity. And that Celeste was going to out David, report him. And of course, that would completely derail and ruin his music career. And he took vengeance upon her and he killed her. He stabbed her. Now, even though the Emmy was unable to specifically identify the murder weapon, and we don't have one, I think it's pretty clear, reading between the lines, that it seems that the prosecution's theory is that she was stabbed with a knife.
Well, speaking of the medical examiner's report, Neama, very hard to read and very disturbing information came out as to the believed cause of death. I believe it was sharp force trauma. What does that mean? Can you explain to folks out there what exactly that means?
Well, Celeste's body was decomposed. She was murdered in May, and it wasn't found, and it was dismembered, multiple pieces, until September of last year. So the ME's report said that because the body had been dismembered and had decomposed, it was difficult to determine, but there were multiple sharp puncture wounds. And again, that seems to be consistent with a knife, scissors, something to that effect. And there was also a significant discussion of the toxicology in that report, which was inconclusive. Now, there were reports of alcohol and drugs in one examination, and a second examination didn't necessarily reveal those same things. And that's important because, again, I think one of the possible defenses here is an accidental drug overdose. And then David panicked, and then that's why he dismembered the body and put it in the frunk of his Tesla. So I think that's an important part of the Emmys report as well.
Yeah, okay. Well, Neama, we always appreciate having you on. You're such an expert. You give it to us straight. So thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Of course, Jamie, Rachel, thank you so much for having me as always.
All right. Thank you, Neama.